Hey, friend. Chris Vandeviver here from whylogicprorules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Today in our 30-day series, I want to dig into the different ways that Logic handles your projects and how it really makes it very easy for you to navigate your projects. We're going to talk about a couple of different areas. Number one, project alternatives, which is an amazing system for saving different snapshots of your project, but it's all saved within the same project. Number two, how to revert back to different saved states of your project, and these are even saved on a per project alternative basis. Number three, undo steps, how you can set how many undo steps you want for a project, and also how you can even include plugin undo steps as well. And number four, how to access Logic when your project is having a problem. You're trying to open a project and it's crashing. How do you access it? And we'll dig into that. Number one, project alternatives. This is an amazing system. I mean, for many years, I would save, version 1 of a project and then version 2 and 3, and then you start to get lost. You can't remember which project that you started from. And then project alternatives came to Logic Pro 10, and now you just save all these different versions of your project, but within the same project. And it's seriously so easy. If we just go up to File, down to Project Alternative, you can create a new alternative, you can edit your alternatives, or even export an alternative as its own project. So as you can see for this particular project, I have 3 alternatives to choose from. And I've saved these on purpose. I worked on the project a little, and then the next time I opened it, maybe I had a new idea or I was going to try something that I wasn't too sure about. And just to be safe, saved a project alternative so I had basically a breadcrumb trail back to an original state. To demonstrate, let's open the first project alternative. Now Logic has opened a new instance of this project. It looks a little different. And if we go into the Finder here, the project itself, we have Alchemy samples, audio files, doesn't look like anything's different. But if I right click on this project and go to Show Package Contents, under Alternatives, we have some different information going on. So these different alternatives are saved within the project itself. And so this makes it very easy to save different instances of your project for safekeeping, for test driving different ideas, and you'll always have an escape route just in case maybe something you did was not the best choice and you need to go back. And furthermore, if we just go to File, Project Alternatives, we can edit the alternatives so we can decide, do we want to keep all of these? Do we want to rename any of them? Or just get rid of them because we're done with the project. We don't need all these extra alternatives at this point. But for this project, I'm going to keep all of them for the time being. And additionally, we can export an alternative as its own project. So maybe we want to break this out and save it as its own project. We can do just that. So we can save it within my random riffs folder and give it its own name, such as 2, and then we can save it as a package or a folder. And there we have it. But sometimes, with the best of intentions, we save alternatives, we save different states, but it turns out no matter how dutiful we are in this department, maybe something went off the rails and we got to get back to a previously saved state. So how do we do this? The simplest way is just to go again to File and go down to Revert To. And we can see within the Revert To here, we have 10 different backups of this project. And we can revert to any of them, no problem. In fact, if we just select this one right here from 818, we're going to revert. Easy peasy. And if we want to float through any of the other different backups, just again, go back to File, Revert To. Now I want to bring to your attention how to set the amount of backups there are for your project, because this is a preference within Logic Pro 10. If we go to Logic Pro 10, Preferences, General, and go to Project Handling, right here we have Auto Backup, and we have the choice between the last alternative version, 3, 10, 30, or even 100. Now, you can see here under File, Revert To, I have 10 backups. Let's now set the backups to 3. This could be dangerous territory, but I've saved alternatives. And let's close this up. Okay, we can see Revert To, 10 saved backups. If I save right now, go to Revert To, we've got 3. So the amount of saved backups available to you is determined within this general preference. So keep this in mind and set it for what feels healthy to you. For me, 10 backups is more than I'll ever need, so we're good to go. Additionally, you can set the amount of undo steps as well within a Logic project. If we go to the same preference, so Logic Pro 10 Preferences General, and then go to Editing here, we can set the number of undo steps. And by default, I believe anyways, it's always been for me 100 undo steps, which is insanity. And if we take a look under the edit menu, we have an undo history that we can pull up. So we can cycle through the different steps that we've committed through the project. Now, I don't have anything going on right now, so let's just make some changes just so we have something going on. So I'm just going to pick random knobs to mess with, just so we can see this. I'll even copy and paste this here. Now let's go to edit, undo history, and we can choose between all of these different undo steps. So if we want to revert back to before all of these changes were made, let's do that. Boom, so easy. And let's go the full width again. Beautiful. But do take notice that right up here, we have an option to include parameter changes from the mixer and plugins. And this is fantastic because not too long ago, we didn't have the option to undo any plugin changes. In fact, if I turn this off, we can see they've been removed. And we haven't made any changes to the mixer, but let's give it a try. So let's adjust that, turn it off. And you can also set the option to include plugin undo steps right within the plugin. So right here, include plugin undo steps in project undo history right when you click on the preset field here. And I think it's pretty clear that Logic is trying to give you all the tools that it could possibly give you so you can go back in time, you can float between projects and keep everything together and, just give you an exit strategy if you make a mistake somewhere. But what happens when Logic doesn't play well with an instrument or a plugin and you can't open the project, or maybe the project has been corrupted? I can't remember the last time I've had a project corrupted on me, but in very recent history, I've tried to open old projects for this series and plugins and instruments that I own that I don't freaking use now because of these problems. It's like they just won't open and it drives me crazy, or it crashes Logic. I really have given up on a lot of third-party stuff. But to solve this problem for you, there are two options for you to choose from. Now, we're going to close this project. Just going to quit it. I'm not going to save. And we're going to assume that this project here is having problems. It just won't open for me no matter what I try. Well, you have two options. First, we're going to open this project, and then we're going to immediately hold the option button. Check it out. So I'm going to double click and then hold option. Logic's going to open up, but check it out. Taking a second. Boom. We now can choose between our different alternatives, so 1 through 3, and also the different save states of each alternative as well. So check it out. And that way you can get back to a previously saved version that maybe doesn't have the hiccups that your most recently saved version is having. Well, let's take it one step further. Maybe nothing is opening, nothing's working for you, and you're really starting to stress out about this. Okay, let's cancel. Let's quit Logic. And this time we're going to double click to open and then hold Control. Check it out. Boom. We have the best way to get into your Logic project when nothing else works. And that's by holding Control right after you double click on a project to open it. We are offered, do you want to launch the core audio driver? Assuming that a plugin or an instrument is giving you trouble, you're not going to want to launch the core audio driver. Instead, we want to choose Don't Launch. And what happens is all the audio files, all the regions, everything will open. All the plugins will be there, but they'll be inactive. And you won't be able to play the session at all because the core audio driver is not enabled. But now you can go into your project and you can remove an instrument or remove a plugin that's causing problems for your project. So let's check it out. Cool. Looking at our project, you can immediately see that everything has been disabled in this project. And, if I try to play, nothing's going to happen because the core audio driver is not enabled. But now if we have a third-party plugin in the session, I can go and say, okay, this third-party plugin, this is giving me just nothing but trouble. Get rid of it, because you are looking at the crash reports when you try to open Logic and it crashes and you're seeing, oh man, that one plugin or that one instrument seems to be the source of all the problems. Let's get rid of it so we can open our project successfully. And once you've done that, you can just go to Logic Pro 10, Preferences, under Audio, and now enable the core audio driver. Logic will load up, and just like that, everything loads up, assuming you got rid of the plugin or instrument that was causing problems to your project. I hope you can see that Logic is trying to lend to you just every tool it possibly can to save your projects, to navigate through them, to back up, to revert back to saved versions, be able to undo stuff, be able to access the project when it's not working. Logic is really fantastic in this department. So I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, as always, I highly recommend subscribing to the YouTube channel, Why Logic Pro Rules, or subscribing on the website itself, whylogicprorules.com. Every week I'm posting new videos, new emails, and posts to help you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Thanks so much, and I'll see you tomorrow in this series.